Haguru Batari. Another Oni. She is a henchman rare, obviously an Oni. She costs 8. So she has a really nice stat line. A defense 6, willpower 6, 8 wounds, so a little bit on the low side. A walk of 6, a charge of 7, and height 2.
So,
however,
decent.
They call this the bird and the snake, but I call it the Arcanist crotch punch.
No, that's specifically Colette.
Colette. I know,
Colette's worst nightmare.
I know, but just
second only to an executioner, especially the new executioners that charges a 1 action. Anyways,
enemy models within 6 may not declare defense or willpower triggers.
Yep. So you basically your defensive triggers are shut down.
Yeah.
If you're within 6.
So you can if you find a way to block it off, you can plan to block it off.
Yeah, you could block. You could push her out of range. You could just walk out of range.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: unless the person that you're trying to shut off their defensive triggers has already activated, like when you move Batari up, you either have to charge to try and pin them down for disengaging, or they have an opportunity to react and get out of the way or move. However, on that moment where they've activated Colette or they've activated their gremlins, because gremlins at their high-pitched squeal are going to hate this too.
Yeah.
Well, suddenly all of those activated within range, they're screwed.
Yeah, and also when you go into some of her other abilities, you can jump her around into key positions relatively easily.
Yeah,
drawn to essence. When a model is summoned within 6, this model's controller may choose to place this model into base contact with the summoned model.
Yep, so she gets to jump to...
within
6 of her.
Yeah, not only my summons, but if you summon something, I can get to...
Does it say... Just to
when this model control may choose to place this model into base contact.
No, before that.
Oh, when a model is summoned within 6.
Yep, just a model, not a friendly model.
So it could be any...
Yeah.
I've got a situation. There might be some times with...
Yeah, there's definitely, but it is very interesting in general.
And that's where, if you're going to play around with these auras, because, you can... Okay, let's say you activate Batari earlier and you put her just within line of sight of where you summon models, and then you can you can hop to that model where then it's going to charge, and then it can benefit from that aura.
Well, the best is probably when you if you set that up with her towards the end of the turn for the next turn.
Yeah.
For example, first turn you run her to where you're like, all right, I dare you to summon something here. And maybe they don't, and maybe it's because you put her there, I can definitely see she's either good right in the middle of things, or even on a flank just threatening to do her thing.
Yeah. Well, and also, that's also a good ability to, let's say you go hog wild, you charge something, you go hit it, and they okay, I'm gonna get 1 round of combat trying to hit her, and then let's say you activate Asami afterwards, and you can pull her out of threat. And as we go into other abilities that you can do.
There's another important one there for the blind charge.
From the darkness, this model may declare charge action against models targets regardless of line of sight. This may ignore intervening terrain and This model may ignore intervening terrain and models while moving during the charge. So hey, you're crossing the other side of the building?
Well, here's a big one. So you've got Batari, let's just say near the beginning of the game, deployed next to Asami, right? You summon a Jarigumo within 6 inches. She gets to place into base contact. So she is now behind the Jarigumo where you can't see Batari, but Batari can see you for charging because of her from the darkness.
Yeah.
So that's just because they're such a big base, they can easily block a lot of line of sight.
Yeah.
And if you
big fat spider butts.
Yeah. And so actually here's a really funny thing. If you really want to get her slingshotted, you start with your you walk Asami, you summon the Tengu or Yoki, right? She moves into base contact. Then you summon the big one, the Jarigumo, even further out, and she teleports next to it, giving her about 12 inches forward.
So you can't do A
So you can
pseudo
do some-
Misaki slingshot.
Well, it's a slingshot.
Yeah.
It's a slingshot with her and a Jarigumo out there.
So now to her attack actions, which are pretty good. Melee 6 with the masks, resist defense, range 2. Target suffers 2, 3, 6 damage. Relatively, that's the thing about it. For an 8 Soulstone model, 2, 3, 6 damage. That min 2
not bad. Min 2 is,
it's a little on the low side. However, she has Flay.
That's a big one. Flay. So she can get to that 6 if she needs to.
If she hits.
Because it's 2-3, so even moderate isn't that much better.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, if you need exactly 3, there you go. Flay. Any other triggers?
Plow over, which is you need a
yeah.
mask. After succeeding against an enemy model, instead of dealing damage, push the target 4 inches away from this model. Then this model may take a charge action against a different target if it's not engaged. This trigger may be taken once per activation. So there are some moments where you can really...
She can definitely do a good assassin run because she has two opportunities. If she charges something, she has 2 opportunities to bowl it over.
Mm-hmm.
And then she bowls it over. Mm-hmm. And now, not only is she up to 7 inches further forward from the charge, she gets a new charge as long as she was not engaged. So she can't jump into some...
She doesn't have the Misaki roll where,
But assuming she pushes that one out, she can still ignore line of sight terrain and models for that second charge, meaning she can get to some really well protected things and just get in there.
You fill up in your nannies.
Now, you have to be careful about counterattacks, because with her damage spread, you need some pretty high cards to ensure she does high damage. But again, she's a henchman though, so she could totally take recall training.
Yeah.
And just have even more opportunities. She can spend soul stones for those masks.
Yeah, for those masks, or she can spend it for
bowl over.
For plow over, short of a black joker and something that's defense 7, if she's going to want to hit it.
Yeah, there's a good chance that she can
get that trigger she wants.
Of course, that's again potentially high cards, but she's and her last trigger. That's
it's just a taste. So after succeeding against an enemy, place a corpse marker in base contact with the target. So that's really good for I want to prep for future summoning.
Exactly. So she's good for that. I'm trying to assassinate something. Get not Mortimer. What's the other one? The McMorning's henchman.
Oh, Sebastian.
Yeah, I want to get rid of Sebastian and all of his shenanigans.
Yeah.
I charge your flesh construct and then I bounce into Sebastian.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's her other... Let's just say you're okay, there's nothing I really need to assassinate. I'm just going to kill a couple of your low-cost activations and get even more corpse markers for Asami. So she's got a couple of options just there with her first attack.
Mm-hmm. And then her second attack action, which this one, it's very interesting. I think it's very situational, but with her jumping around, I think it's really good. The Hunting Song. Casting 6... target number 12 with a crow. So the crow's already built in. It's resisted by willpower. It's range 12, so pretty respectable range.
Yep,
target model gains the following condition until end of the game, or until this model leaves play. Whispers in the night. This model may not charge. The next time this model takes a walk action, it must end as close to the model that applied the condition as possible, and then end its condition. So let's say in a situation you popped up. Okay, I'm going to...
And that's a 1 action?
It's a 1 action, yeah.
And it's casting 6? Or
Casting 6.
So, okay, 6 versus their willpower.
Yeah.
And if the model can't charge, and if they walk, they must walk towards Batari.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and the next time they walk.
Yeah.
However, walking also is what ends the condition.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very interesting. You'd want to put it on something that A... isn't in range to shoot, which you have to get within 12, so depending what you're going after.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's very, I'm trying to think of some models you'd want to do this to.
But, so there's probably a lot of scheme runners that would rather be walking in a different direction.
Oh,
like
Crueligans or Slurrids.
Right. Well, Yeah, slurs can still leap, but now they don't have their walk.
Yeah.
Right? They're limited to leap interact instead of leap walk interact.
Mm-hmm.
Or even interact leap interact.
Yeah.
That is still doable. Or even that moment, like, I had moments where you're like Tengu or Ten Thunder Brothers, all like, I'm gonna run behind this building in order to run towards your ski markers. You ain't running towards my ski markers.
Yeah.
You're coming to me.
Oh, yes, yeah.
So it's very like, I walk, I get a scheme runner just within 12 inches, and I hit it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Kruligan. That Kruligan's not walking anywhere but towards me.
Yeah. And which Batari's like, oh, yes.
And so it forces them to, like, oh,
it's
what
very,
do I do?
Yeah.
And it's till the end of game? Or until this model's removed, right?
Yeah, until the end of game or this model leaves play.
And that's why it can remove itself, but if they don't do anything... So you wouldn't throw it on, like, Guild Riflemen? Because they're probably just going to sit there focusing.
Okay, I'm just going to shoot you. Yeah,
Focus, shoot.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. This would be a really good one to, like... That'd be really good for... I'm chasing after your scheme runners.
Right, and that's why she definitely seems like a model that she'll definitely fuck up any scheme runner she comes against.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
like I see. That's the thing about Batari. You look at her damage. Sure, she has that really nice play trigger, but then you're spending so many. Like with Asami, if you weren't running with Asami a lot, you're gonna be spending a lot of cards on your summoning.
And that's one of those moments. If you tag both of them, you have to be careful what. And of course, with her auras, she's a good support piece, even if she doesn't get her crazy attacks off. And there's one aura left.
Yeah.
Her tactical actions.
So her tactical actions, an Oni's Call, cast 6. But she has 2 tactical actions.
Okay, and they're both
cast
zeros.
6. Needing a cast 6 with a crows built in. Need to meet a target number of crows and tomes. Range 6. Target other friendly only performs an interact action. So there are moments where I need to mark you for death, but I don't want to give it away.
Well, exactly.
Or I don't.
It's that moment she can say, "Hey, you." Mark them for death.
Yeah.
Or even on her activation, she uses her 0 to tell that Oni, mark them for death, and then she charges something.
Yeah.
And she can get it right there. She'd be a great, like, alpha strike if they didn't know you were taking it. Which, again, so anybody watching this, if you see him take Batari, know that that's possible.
Yeah.
Now, she does need, what is it, a
5 of,
no,
or sorry, a 4 of,
a 4 of tomes or a soul stone and a 4.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's resources. It's resources.
Yeah. Well, potentially. So, and since it has a suit trigger, it's much harder to guarantee.
Which, this is a 0 that she has that automatically happens. The
there.
flaying song.
Just 0 action. I have the flaying song.
Yeah. Until end of turn, friendly only within 4, gain a mask to their melee. So as you can tell, that there's as we go through the other ones. The yokai especially, and even the Tengu have flay.
Yeah.
So a lot of them have a 1 built-in mask. So what you do is it allows you to get that flay trigger for free.
Yep. They will basically always have the flay trigger as long as they manage to hit.
Which is really good. And then she does have her own.
It's potentially good. It's still one of those moments that you don't build your whole strategy around it. If you need it, it's nice, but the fact that you have to spend a card for the damage is still a card that needs to be spent. That you need to have and you need to spend.
And you don't flay every single chance you get. Like you flay at those really this thing has to die.
Well, and that's the big thing is she can just throw that up and it affects herself and the others. So it's just friendly Oni, not other. It's friendly Oni. It's not other. It's
friendly Oni within 4.
Yeah, so it affects herself.
Yeah.
And your opponent's just like, shoot, everybody within that, and even you're just like, oh, I could charge my Tengu in there, and if I manage to cheat to moderate damage, I'd kill it. Yeah. And so you take the chance to charge in and be able to do that.
And with yokai. Ooh.
And so, does Batari have a personal?
Yeah, she does have a personal. Okay. A taste for flesh. Pretty much it gives her eat your fill.
Yeah, it is exactly eat your fill, right?
Yeah, it's a 1 soul stone and it gives you eat your fill.
Which now, she only has 8 wounds, but if you wound her and then she kills something, she's back to full.
Yeah, so that might be a kind of a partially a deterrent, like, it's
also makes her whole attacking scheme runners even, like, that much better. it's even that moment you're like, you go in to get her, you manage to get her out, or no, she attacks you, gets bowl over, she charges some little thing, she kills that little thing, she eats it.
Yeah, or like
she
those
heals.
or those moments where, oh, like I got a severe honor. Like, all right, well, I'm gonna bowl over your model, and then I'm gonna go after you.
Yeah.
Your wounded
So,
Emberling.
it just gives her some good
Yeah.
stuff.
Her damage is low, but I honestly think if you're gonna play Asami, Batari's probably going to be with her.
And yeah, when I think about that damage spread, like being able to get 6 with a severe is nice, but even she's not like a crazy red Joker, because her red Joker is 8.
Like Misaki.
Which, don't get me wrong, that will hurt. 8 damage is crazy, but right, it's still not like if Langston ever manages to red Joker. I guess that's only 9 or 4, 6. No, 10. That's 10 damage.
That's 10 damage. That's a dead Batari.
Okay,
So now we're gonna go into